Liverpool are going all in, breaking records for Florian Wirtz. The Saudis are throwing €200 million at Bruno Fernandes. Can Manchester United really hold on to their captain? Fati is shaking things up. Monaco welcomes their newest star. Garnacho looks set to leave too, and his next club might already be known. Every like you don't give me is one more grey hair on my head. At this rate, I'll look like Guardiola by the time I'm 30. Save my hair. 450 likes. And while I'm losing it, let's talk about who's about to buy who for ridiculous money. Liverpool are on the verge of pulling off not just a big signing, but a truly historic deal. The club is now seriously closing in on Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. And it's not just media hype. Rumour has it the player himself is pushing for Anfield. Crazy, right? Just a few days ago, everyone was writing Bayern are the favourites, that Wirtz was already packing his bags for Munich and Liverpool were just background noise for the headlines. But now, David Ornstein himself reports that Liverpool are the frontrunners and Wirtz wants to join them. Do you think he's already learning "You'll never walk alone"? The biggest twist? Manchester City have suddenly dropped out of the race. Apparently, they decided not to compete with Bayer over such a massive fee. Now Bayern are quietly whispering, maybe he's already chosen England? And get this, Wirtz is even rumoured to be house hunting somewhere outside Liverpool, like he's already picking out spots for future title parties. People in Munich are stunned. The word is, he's set on Merseyside. Surprise? You bet. By the way, if you watch every one of my videos but the subscribe button still seems as mysterious as that €150 million price tag for Liverpool, take the risk. It's free, unlike Wirtz, and it won't break your personal financial fair play. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Bayer want €150 million. That's not just a Liverpool record, that's way beyond anything this club's ever done. Bayern are reportedly ready to offer around €100 million, and you know Liverpool will try to bargain, just like anyone at a market. €150 million is nice, but how about a little discount if we pay up front? So now, the real negotiations begin. Who will hold their nerve? Journalists are dropping inside scoops left and right. Wirtz has supposedly given Liverpool his verbal yes, and now he's just waiting for the clubs to reach an agreement on the fee. But here's the big tension point. Liverpool are genuinely worried that the price might break their club philosophy. You don't drop almost €150 million on a 22-year-old every day, even if he is world class. Not long ago, it felt like Wirtz was definitely staying at Leverkusen for at least another season. He's got a contract until 2027. Everything seemed calm. And then, boom, everything turns upside down. The Athletic wrote that Liverpool have been eyeing Florian for ages, but only now are they going all in. All or nothing style. And let's be honest, if this goes through, Wirtz won't just be Liverpool's record signing, he'd be the most expensive German player ever. No pressure, right? Or do you think in Slot's new setup, only players with that kind of mentality belong here? Of course, it's still too soon to tick his name off as done. Liverpool are still worried Bayer won't budge, or that Wirtz himself could suddenly decide to stay in Leverkusen for another year. The money is insane, and his salary would be right at the ceiling. But just picturing Wirtz under "You'll never walk alone" is already getting fans fired up. What about you? Should Liverpool go all in for a star like this? Or is the risk just too much? Let me know your predictions in the comments. Kevin De Bruyne in a Napoli shirt sounds like something out of an alternate universe, but apparently it's a very real scenario this summer. According to Sky Sports Italia, the Belgian maestro is set to leave Man City, not for a crazy payday, but simply for the love of the game. Okay, maybe not just for the love, there's still a nice chunk of money on the table, but nowhere near the €12 million a year he was getting under Guardiola. Picture this, Napoli's sporting director Giovanni Manna strolling around Manchester with a folder under his arm, while De Bruyne's wife is already scoping out villas in Naples, maybe deciding where she'll be watching Champions League nights from the terrace. And that's the real trump card for Napoli. They can offer Kevin another shot at the Champions League, while the Chicago Fire in MLS might promise more cash, but at the end of the day, it's only the MLS Cup and pineapple pizza. Word is, the contract is basically ready. 3 years, €6 million for the first and second season, €5 million for the third. For De Bruyne, who's now 33, this is not just a last dance. It's a chance to end his career in style, in a city where football is basically a religion. And here's where Antonio Conte comes in. Conte loves working with experienced machines, not just promising kids, and De Bruyne is exactly the kind of player who can change the game the moment he steps on the pitch, even if he's just landed from Belgium. But wait, didn't Kevin himself say he wanted to stay at City for another year? Why Napoli then? The reason's simple. City didn't offer him a new deal. Not because he's lost it, but because the club is quietly reshuffling its midfield for the future. And honestly, that's respect. They didn't kick him out, didn't blindside him. They gave him the choice to pick his own path. Just imagine it. Napoli with Conte and De Bruyne orchestrating the midfield like in his prime. Some will say he's too old, he won't cut it. But remember how a 33-year-old Modric was still bossing the Champions League? And let's be honest, if you're going to leave the Premier League, why go to Saudi Arabia when you can become a legend all over again in Italy? Question for you. Do you believe De Bruyne can deliver one more magical season in Serie A? Or do you think MLS is the bigger lure? Money, peace, and no pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Alejandro Garnacho and Manchester United are about to have that conversation. The kind where doors get slammed and people stop replying to messages. The kid just had the best season of his career. 11 goals in 57 games. Sure, it's not Haaland or Mbappe numbers, but for this current United side, that's practically heroic. And now, it seems the club's bosses are thinking, what if we cash in on him for, say, £60 million? It's pretty logical, honestly. When else are you going to sell, if not now? Not long ago, Garnacho was saying how happy he was at Old Trafford, but if you look at him now, he's not exactly beaming with joy. Why's that? Well, Ruben Amorim decided to shoehorn a natural winger into his weird 3-4-2-1 system, which just doesn't suit Garnacho at all. The player clearly expected something else after Ten Hag left, but instead got stuck with a tactical puzzle every week. And you know how it goes. When a player's struggling, the manager starts talking about work rate and commitment. Classic, right? To make things spicier, the relationship between Garnacho and Amorim has apparently gone full enemy status. Remember, Garnacho's own brother couldn't hold back and accused the coach of throwing him under the bus. That's always a sign. A family member jumps in and you just know a transfer's coming. Speaking of which, Chelsea and Napoli are already warming up their checkbooks. Chelsea were just sniffing around in January, but now they're reportedly in regular contact with Garnacho's agents. With Enzo Maresca at the helm and a summer fire sale on the cards, the Blues are looking to free up funds for players just like Garnacho. Napoli, fresh off their Serie A title, haven't forgotten about the Argentine either and are ready to make a move. And what if Garnacho goes to Saudi Arabia? The money's huge. The climate is, well, almost like Argentina. Why not? Bottom line, this summer, Garnacho is going to be one of the hottest potatoes on the transfer market. And it looks like United are ready to pass him on to whoever's willing to pay the price. The only question left, who's going to bite and for how much? Just as everyone finished talking about Flick's new contract and the latest on Rafinha, here comes news that'll seriously blow your mind. Lamine Yamal, a kid who's not even 18 yet, is about to sign a mega deal that'll make him the highest paid player at Barcelona. Yes, even higher than Lewandowski, who, let's remember, pockets €33 million a year. Just think about it. The guy's only just started his senior career and he's already at the very top of the wage food chain. Now imagine Lamine waking up in the morning, checking his phone, still at Barca, still making the most, still not dreaming. It's wild, but it's real. This week, none other than Jorge Mendes, Europe's biggest football fixer, was spotted dining with Yamal's family in Barcelona, surrounded by lawyers and agents. Paparazzi were snapping away, and Mendes told reporters on the run, "Lamine's not going anywhere." Classic Mendes. Why all the rush? Barca don't want to risk some PSG or whoever showing up with a suitcase full of cash this summer and throwing Yamal off course. The plan is to get the contract signed before the window even opens, just to leave no chance for anyone else. The old deal's already irrelevant. After Yamal's birthday in July, his salary needs to match a top star, not a youth academy grad. And you get why the board is nervous. Everyone knows about Barca's financial headaches, and to even register new signings, Flick will probably have to offload some players. But losing Yamal, that would be way beyond risky. So the club's moving fast, because this kid is genuinely unique. Pace, dribbling, composure, the full package. Half the top clubs in Europe can only dream of talents like this. So here's the question. Is it too soon to turn Yamal into an icon and shower him with more cash than the club's veterans? Or is Barca absolutely right? When you have this kind of talent, you don't risk losing him, and you've got to lock down a future legend now, just like the Galacticos did. Tell me, who would you sacrifice to make a deal like this happen? And don't forget to drop a like for the craziest transfer action around. The best is still to come. Looks like Manchester United are up to their old tricks on the transfer market again. Remember Rasmus Højlund? The Danish wonder kid United splashed £72 million on for Atalanta just 2 years ago? Well, it seems like they've already had enough. Rumours are flying that the Red Devils are ready to offload him this summer, and just wait till you hear the price tag. At first, there were whispers of a modest £25 to £30 million, but then the Italian press, like Corriere dello Sport, started throwing around numbers closer to £42 to £46 million. And now, United themselves seem to have gotten greedy. They reportedly want at least £50 million. £50 million? Seriously? For a player who scored just 14 goals in all competitions since joining United? 14. And only 4 of those have come in the Premier League this season. And for that, you want 50 million? Clearly, they're desperate to claw back at least some of that original £72 million. Genius business plan. Bravo! So, who's actually lining up for this treasure? The usual Serie A suspects, Inter, Napoli, even Juventus, are said to be interested. For Juve, he's reportedly an attractive target because of his relatively low-wage demands. Yeah, maybe he's not asking for Ronaldo money, but who's really going to pay 50 million for a striker with those numbers? That would be the flop of the year. If United actually want to move him on, they'll have to seriously lower their expectations. Otherwise, they'll be left stuck with Højlund like a suitcase with a broken handle. And here's the funniest bit. If they do sell him, then what? Back to the market. Searching for a new goal scorer, splashing millions all over again. Maybe it would have made sense to give the guy another season? Or is this just the classic Manchester United syndrome? Buy high, sell low, and still end up with nothing to show for it? What do you think? Are they actually going to let the Dane go, or is this just another summer rumor to keep us talking? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Looks like Barcelona's patience has finally run out. They've decided it's time to sort out the Ansu Fati situation once and for all. Remember this guy? Not long ago, he'd step onto the Camp Nou with that huge grin, and half the stadium's mood would lift instantly. La Masia's crown jewel, the future of Barcelona. So many big words, so much hype. Now, it's AS Monaco, a loan deal, and even hints that Barca are ready to part ways with him for good. And this isn't just rumor mill stuff. Fabrizio Romano himself is reporting it, and if he says it, you know things are serious. Monaco are basically finalizing a loan for Fati with an option to buy, which honestly feels more like a one-way ticket, since there's no talk of any buyback clause for Barcelona. The club will apparently keep some rights to a future sale, but who cares if, under Flick, Ansu never had even the slightest chance to prove himself? Not injuries, not competition. The real issue was just a lack of trust from the coaching staff. Even when he did get on the pitch, he looked more like a shadow of his old self than the kid who once brought the crowd to its feet. More and more often, the questions were, where's the real Fati? Did he really fall off this quickly? And now, a new chapter. Ligue 1, Monaco, a shot at a career reboot. Honestly, this might be Fati's last real chance. If he doesn't impress in France, people will just forget about him. But he does have a shot. In Monaco, there's less pressure, more playing time, and pretty decent conditions for growth. Imagine if he actually gets his spark back. Fati needs a new challenge to regain his confidence and show everyone they wrote him off way too soon. But it's a massive risk too. Monaco keeps bringing in fresh young talent every year, the competition is fierce, and French fans can be just as demanding as those at Camp Nou. Then again, maybe a change of scenery is exactly what this guy needs. Lots of top players have found their second wind after moving to France. So here's my question to you. Do you believe in an Ansu comeback, or is this already turning into a story of what could have been? Let's talk in the comments. Will Fati have his second act, or did Barca gamble on the wrong joker? Bruno Fernandes just got an offer from Al Hilal that'll make your jaw drop. We're talking a £200 million package. And this isn't just tabloid talk. The Daily Mail says the Saudis are dead serious and want Bruno's answer by the end of May. Tick-tock, the clock's ticking. Just picture Bruno sitting there, and this contract lands on his desk. 3 years, £700,000 a week. 700,000 every week. Throw in signing bonuses and other perks, and he could be looking at £65 million a season. That's how many private islands can you buy with that? To make the heist of the century happen, Al Hilal are also willing to drop £100 million straight to United. Chic-level generosity, honestly. And all for what? To have a marquee name when the Club World Cup kicks off soon. They want a superstar to show off. Here's the wild part. As soon as the final offer is on the table, Bruno will have just 72 hours to decide. 3 days to choose whether to chase gold in the desert. And credit to Fernandes, he's not pretending he's above it all. He even admitted, if the club wants to cash in on me, why not? The guy turns 30 this year, and let's be real, Manchester United aren't exactly flying high right now. No European football next season, 25% pay cut after missing the Champions League. The contrast with Saudi millions is just insane. You know what else is insane? The stats show so many of you watch every video, but treat the subscribe button like forbidden fruit. I see you. Don't be like Bruno, who could miss his chance to be a United legend. Don't miss your chance to support the channel. It's a lot easier than turning down £200 million, trust me. And really, what's going on with United's future anyway? No one seems to have a clue. Bruno's in his prime, he needs results now, not vague promises about the future. United, of course, are making the usual noises. We don't want to lose our captain. But come on, when you've got holes in your finances big enough for a hurricane to blow through. They just lost the Europa League final. That's £100 million in lost revenue, plus they owe Adidas another £10 million for missing out on the Champions League. And they're finishing somewhere around 16th or 17th in the Premier League. The club's coffers are running dry, folks. Clubs have sold big stars for a lot less. If Bruno does head to Saudi Arabia, he'll still get picked for the Portugal squad. Cristiano set the precedent. The real question is, can he resist that mountain of cash? Stay a United legend in tough times, or set up his great-great-grandkids for life? Honestly, I'd have to think about it. What about you? Do you think Bruno will go for the money? Drop your thoughts in the comments.